What up, what up, what up, what up? You already know what it is. It's your boy, B-Phil. We back again, yo. Back again, in it to win. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and look at what happened today thus far. And what trades we took. Because I took a trade, y'all. And I got a dub. So, if you recall on gold, right, we had some area in here, right? Actually, I don't even have to do all that. I think I saved it. So there we go. So we had this area in here as we talked about. Go back and look at the video I made earlier this week. So basically, what had happened is we were looking for it to come into here. We're looking for this bullish divergence to happen. And you can see it happened pretty nicely. I didn't take that trade though. It did come up and it pulled back, and then we saw that it was starting to move back up on Monday. And I wanted to see it come back down into here. But ultimately, what I said was, okay, well, I mean, it could come back down into here. But we're just going to go ahead and look for a down candle to break up because it looks very, very bullish at this point. So what do? We did just that. And so you see price action comes down here, right? It doesn't really break up. It wicks up really hard. And then finally, right? Finally, it breaks up. And so I did get in this trade prematurely in a way. But I did see we had the green money flow, right? And we were starting to curve back up to the upside. And so to me, that was good enough confluence to say, okay, well, let me go ahead and buy stop in here. So I buy stopped into here, stopped below this low. And of course, it ran up, and I will admit, it got up into this area here, and I had it at 1 to 2, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna wait. But I got a little shaky when I saw this candle start to pull back a bit, and I saw this red dot print, and I was like, you know what? I'll be cool with the 1 to 1.5, right? And so I closed the trade out. But as you can see, it's continuing to run, so we had price start to pull back here really quite a bit yesterday. And you can see this yellow line, what I was looking for, and we saw like price starting to kind of curve over, but then it kept falling, right? And so what I was doing was I was putting this yellow line here, and I was going down on the 15-minute, and I was looking for a down candle, and I wanted to see that down candle get broken to the upside. And then, of course, I was going to do the same thing with the buy stop because you can just see there's a lot of just green money flow. We got a little bit of red here, of course, but it's starting to get super green again. And so I had this red line here to say, okay, we need to see a body close above this red line. We saw one, but I wasn't looking at the charts at this time. This was sometime 7 p.m., and I don't normally look at the charts at that time. So that's just a recap of what happened this week. And yeah, actually, I did in here somewhere. I did take a small loss. I think it was like in here somewhere, and I tried to buy here, and then I saw it start to come back down, and I closed it out really early, and so I only lost like $8 or something like that. So it was I've been trading really small sizes, but nonetheless, I've been just trying to get this strategy down pat. So let's get into what's going on today. So gold, I mean, you look on the daily, and we still have this red here. So ultimately, I do want to see it come back, right? I want to see it come back, and then I want to see a nice little trigger wave here before we ultimately go higher. But, I mean, if you just really look and you just kind of look at the market here, we had this breakdown, we had this large move up, and then we had this pullback here. So I want to see price come back into here. I'm just going to erase this because I don't think that's very important right now. And I'm gonna leave that there actually. So I do want to see price come back into this area here and then continue up. All right, because I think that'll give us enough of momentum wave back to get us a nice little trigger going here. We'll start to see the money flow starting to get higher on the daily, at which point we could probably look at this as a really good hold all the way to all-time highs. So this might actually be a slightly good time to actually get some physical gold, which I'm gonna have some discussions with some friends this weekend about. But this may actually, instead of doing futures, this might be a good time to get some appreciation out of this because I think we're gonna go to all-time highs. So that's really what I'm looking at here on gold. Waiting for it to come back down here to this 1,000, around the $1,881.27 level. Let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's quite interesting. I have these areas here still, and we can see the money flow is nice, crossing up, right? And we're about to get what looks like a nice little, I wouldn't say a trigger because we don't really have an anchor here to knock this up, to continue this move. So this may not be the strongest indicator to go ahead and take a long, but it might be a nice little 1 to 1.5, something like that. But what we'd want to see is we have this down candle. We definitely want to see that price goes ahead and gives us a strong body close. And when I say strong, I just mean a body close. This body here just needs to close above this black candle, and then I can go ahead and look for a buy stop. And this will be on the daily, inside of a nice little zone here. So there's a good amount of confluence for this particular trade. We can go on the hourly. Yeah, so we have a lot of wiki price action, down, 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 down. Just had that break up, we had this down. So, I mean, ultimately, it looks kind of primed. You see the money flow is already crossed up. Well, excuse me, it hasn't quite yet. It looks like it's going to, but it looks like we're gonna print here a nice red dot. So I'd say if I was gonna go ahead and trade Bitcoin, I probably want to see it tap back into this. And you can see this wick here, right? It didn't break it just yet, and it broke. It opened up, it came down, and then it just took off. So if we see this black candle pop back into here, let's say 26,769.42 or around that area, then we can go ahead and drop down to the 15. And we're just going to look for the same pattern. It looks like it's pretty green here. It looks like, you know, in the short term, it looks like we could still have some nice bullish price action here. But again, we want to see it just tap down into the zone, and then we can look for the typical confirmation, take a long. Let's see what we could potentially be looking at here. We put a stop below this low, add some extra padding there. We got a 0.20% stop loss there, not even 1%, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, and you see it runs this high. I mean, you got a nice 1 to 3. We typically go for 1 to 1.5 here, so I mean, we'd only need that much. But I mean, you know, plenty of meat on the bone here. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and set this alert. And let's see what happens. Let's go to the NASDAQ. Let's go to the daily. I mean, of course, again, we have our we have our boxes here. We're still waiting for it to come back down into here. It looks like it was just very explosive upwards move this week. It looks like on the weekly, wow, that's pretty strong. On the weekly, we're printing a green dot here. That is quite strong. But ultimately, we didn't see a nice, really nice close here. We didn't see a nice body close above this last down candle here. So we may have some time to wait on the weekly. The week is going to close in approximately 7 hours and 15 minutes. So we got a good amount of time here. And if it closes above, then honestly on the weekly, you could look at something like this, right? Nice little buy stop. I don't know if I would put it below there. It'd have to be down here. But we'd be looking at a 1 to 1.5 to a little bit above all-time highs. Is that realistic? I think that's realistic. But that's if we took a buy stop off the weekly, right? That's really if we only took that. We probably want to see a break close above here and then come back down into here in this area somehow, some way. We can look on the daily. Yeah, we don't really have a clean, it's not very clean. Right, just wiki there. But I mean, ultimately, we see some down moves here, wicks up, down moves down, and we had this large move up. So we finally broke all those particular structural points. So technically, we could be looking again. We already had this, but we want to see it come back into this area. And I think it's a good idea to wait here. You see on the daily, we have some red money flow, which isn't too bad. And we're about to print a red dot, so maybe we even look for a short, potentially. Something like this, down into that zone. Let's go ahead and change the color of this. So yeah, maybe we look for that. We want to see a nice close below. But I mean, on the daily, this is quite indecisive for today, so I don't know that we'll get that. But we can drop down to the 1 hour and see. Yeah, we want to see a nice decisive close, and so it looks like we got the money flow starting to curl downwards, right? It looks pretty clear here. We don't really see, so if I was looking to short this, right, and it looks like, and again, you can see the structure. You don't need to go ahead and put on any indicators to see it, but I'll do it anyways, right? You see here, structural break, right? And then we finally had this large move down, breaking the structure, right? So we want to look for it to ultimately come back into the zone or in and around this area before we took just a small little short scalp to the downside with the idea that we're ultimately bullish from here, right? We're looking for a reason, looking for a very good reason in a body close on the actual daily, right? So if we see this body close on the daily, I mean, I think we're pretty safe, in my opinion, to go ahead and take that buy stop. And again, when you're doing trading, y'all, it's going to either go up or it's going to go down. Everything that I'm telling you right now is just additional reasons to really manage the trade. So, for instance, when I'm saying this body close above here, well, I know, okay, well, body closes. We still have a large area to move down, so it may not be optimal to look for a particular trade just yet, right? But I mean, if we're trying to trade ranges and whatnot, and we're thinking it's going to break up or break down to these ranges, we could say, okay, well, what's the risk? Well, we have this particular area here, right? We'd want to buy stop whatever this break is and put it below this swing low on the weekly. And then we'd say, okay, well, how do we manage this trade? Well, price starts to move against us. We already know we want to see it come down into here, right? But at a certain point, we might just want to say, okay, well, it's starting to move down pretty clearly here, so it might be moving down to here. So let's just go ahead and cut maybe 50% of this position and only take half of what we would have taken if obviously it would have continued down and through our stop loss. So it's just really all about managing risk, y'all. That's all this stuff is about. You look at how much you're willing to risk. You look at the probabilities from what you've seen, right, and experience you've gained from being in these markets, and you just go with that. It's not that deep, honestly. What is this? The Schiller home prices. So, I mean, again, looks like we're about to print this red dot here. Anyways, we're 14 minutes in, y'all. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully this was insightful. I'm not going to go through too many pairs today. We'll just keep it at gold, Bitcoin, and the NASDAQ, y'all. So have a wonderful weekend. Do something fun. Or, just learn something like I like doing. I like learning on the weekends. Hopefully y'all do too. Anyways, take it easy. I'll holler at y'all. Peace.